Confucius once said, "Signs and symbols rule the world, not words or laws." If this is true, we need to be more aware of what some signs and symbols actually mean. Big corporations use logos as a way for people to identify their product, but some of these symbols could have ties with symbols used by secret societies. By pre-programming us to see these symbols, we'll make it easier for the New World Order to take over, or is it already too late? Today we're going to take a look at logos with hidden subliminal messages. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm your host, American Eye, keeping an eye on everything you want to know. Number 12. Google Chrome. Google Chrome is the most used internet browser around the world, and as of lately, it seems as though they're on some kind of New World Order agenda. Google owns YouTube, and they'll demonetize just about any video that doesn't go with their narrative. They're almost like some kind of all-knowing, all-seeing entity that has control over our lives whether we realize it or not. In any case though, we can see who Google is really paying homage to when you take a look at their logo. If you take a look closely at the Google Chrome logo, you can tell that there are 3 sixes, one to the left, one to the right, and one upside down. In case you didn't know, 666 is the mark of the beast, and it's an unholy number to say the least. Google Chrome had a different logo a while ago, but they changed it to this. Google certainly isn't the only tech company using some mysterious symbols. The Facebook logo also appears to look very similar to the Tubal Cain, and you can even tell in this photo that it's giving a little thumbs up. Number 11. Illuminati movie posters. The Illuminati wants to make their presence prominent in the media, but without coming forward and saying it directly. They want to make it known subliminally that the motion pictures, films, television, internet, mass media is all owned by them. Ever since it was exposed through the CIA documents during the experiments known as MKUltra and through Project Mockingbird, we've noticed more and more Illuminati symbolism in everyday things such as movie posters, for example. One of their most famous symbols is the all-seeing eye. This symbol represents how the organization is always watching each other, and revealing secrets about the Freemasons will be spotted by the all-seeing eye. The more you're aware, the more you'll notice some hidden imagery from posters such as Shutter Island, Avatar, Tammy, Ant-Man, and Star Wars, just to name a few. You'll also notice the majority of the time people are peeking out of their right eye. To the untrained mind, they might not be able to spot it, but each one shows one eye. Oh, what's this? Even the American Eye logo too? Tell us it isn't true. Number 10. Tostitos. Possibly America's most favorite chip brand is Tostitos. They heavily advertise during sporting events, and there's even a football game known as the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. In 1978, the Frito-Lay's company decided to do their best to make a chip that had an authentic Mexican taste to it. After uncovering some secrets, they launched Tostitos to the public, and they became a huge success. Now there's all kinds of Tostitos you can buy, but you'll notice that they have a similar logo. In the middle of the word, the T, the I, and the T come together to form 2 people placing a chip into salsa. And what's the deal with the triangle-shaped chip in the middle? Illuminati confirmed or what? Number 9. Gmail Masonic Apron. Some believe that any doubts one might have about our founding fathers having a role in the Freemasons can be simply solved by looking at our money and our Great Seal. Masonic aprons take many different forms, but a lot of the time you can certainly notice the letter M, and a lot of the time it'll kind of look like an envelope. So is it a mere coincidence that Gmail kind of looks like a Masonic apron, or what's the deal? It's one of the most symbolic emblems of Freemasonry, traditionally made from lambskin. It's also one of the first gifts given to a new member of the secret society. Some believe that Freemason honor the letter G since it's the 7th letter in the alphabet. That's why we sometimes see the letter G in their square and compass logo. Number 8. The Red Shield. You're probably familiar with the Red Shield or the Salvation Army, but what could this logo have to do with possibly the most powerful family in the world? The Salvation Army is present in 131 different countries around the world and operates shelters for the homeless. They also offer relief for people suffering from natural disasters. But could the logo itself actually have some kind of sinister origin? Keep in mind, if you translate the name Rothschild, Roth equals red and Shield equals shield. The man who founded the Salvation Army was named William Booth. Does that last name sound familiar? Some like to theorize that William Booth was actually a member of the Freemasons and founded the organization through money from the Rothschilds. As you continue to connect the dots, things get even stranger. Number 7. Apollo. Buzz Aldrin, the second man to walk on the moon, was certainly not the only Masonic astronaut to make it into space, but he was certainly one of the more notable Masons to do so. Were the Masons trying to claim the moon as their territory or something? Or are the Freemasons the ones who profit off of all NASA's lies? Who knows? But one thing is clear, Buzz Aldrin was initiated as a part of the Freemasons at Oak Park Lodge No. 864 in Montgomery, Alabama on February 17, 1955. So with knowing all that, it shouldn't be too hard to point out the Apollo logo kind of looks similar to that of the square in the compass. Some feel as though NASA is just one big hoax conducted by the Freemasons in order to keep the public completely clueless about the truth about the cosmos. All those NASA moon landing videos filmed in a movie studio. All those photos of planet Earth altered with Photoshop. Their main goal, brainwash humans into believing people are an insignificant speck in the grand scheme of things, and so on. What do you believe? Number 6. CBS. Sometimes it's not exactly what the news is talking about that should have your attention. It's actually about what they're not talking about that you should be concerned with. You ever feel like the government is pushing an agenda by the news we watch? Have you ever felt like our freedom of press is at risk here in this country? The Illuminati is all around us, and even in our mainstream media. This is the source that most people go to for information, and it's certainly putting it out there that they could have some ties with the Illuminati. The CBS logo has changed throughout time, but if you read between the lines, it's clear that the all-seeing eye is truly who's in charge. As we mentioned before, with Project Mockingbird, the news can no longer be trusted, and what they're truly feeding us is brainwashing messages. This is, of course, for the New World Order to take over with less opposition. Number 5. United States Africa Command. Who's got their eye on Africa? The Rockefellers, Rothschilds, the Chinese? Or are they all just going to split it up like a big piece of pie? The United States Africa Command is also known as Africom and is responsible for U.S. military operations in 53 African countries, excluding Egypt. If you horizontal flip the logo, you can see the continent of Africa makes up the pupil of the all-seeing eye. A secret base is found in the country of Djibouti near the airport and is the only permanent U.S. base in the continent of Africa. It's operated by the United States Africa Command. It's been used to launch operations on countries such as Somalia, Yemen, and Afghanistan, and was deliberately kept in the shadows of the public. It's likely been the base for many operations in Africa, as well as drone strikes to help us stir up political chaos. Number 4. The Pentagon. Many believe the 5 sides of the Pentagon are said to represent the 5 branches of the U.S. military: the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, and the Coast Guard. What's also interesting about the construction of the Pentagon is that it was being built right before the Pearl Harbor attacks, as if the U.S. was expecting a global conflict. Offices for the different branches were all scattered throughout Washington, D.C., which made communication much more complicated. So one large building was decided on, which would be 5-sided. The total cost of the Pentagon was about $83 million, and it was in operation only 16 months later. You have to wonder a little bit, though, why they decided to have the Pentagon point down to the south, which will ultimately make it point downwards. We all know how upside-down pentagrams are often used as a symbol of evil. Number 3. The UN logo. The UN is known to have many world leaders in the same building at the same time, which could ultimately be all members of the Illuminati for all we know. While we're on this topic, keep in mind that the Rockefellers and the Rothschild families were often associated with secret societies, donating the land in New York in order for this to be built. Why would wealthy private business families donate money and land in order to build a building such as this? Whatever way you might want to think about it, their symbol appears to depict the map of how flat Earth perceive Earth to actually be. Is this just some kind of creative artist perception, or could it be a symbol of what Earth actually looks like right in front of our face? Number 2. The Pepsi Globe. This company once had President Richard Nixon as their company lawyer at one point in time, and has had their obvious links to the New World Order. They caused quite the stir when a communist leader was about to be elected as a president of the country of Chile. This would essentially rid American corporations from their land. This wouldn't work out too well for Pepsi. In response, President Richard Nixon sought a coup d'etat of the nation by trying to destabilize their government. Long story short, Nixon, the CIA, some bribe money from this company, got rid of the president, and bottling plants and other U.S. corporations, including Pepsi, got to stay. Their symbol is known as the globe and originated in the 1940s. Could their goal actually be world domination? Also, if you flip the NASA logo upside down, you kind of notice some similarity with the geometric shape in the middle. Before we get to our number 1, can anyone tell us what this sign is and what logo looks similar to it? Get the answer right and we'll feature you in an upcoming video. And number 1, the Apple logo. Alright, so we're all familiar with Apple and their large variety of products, but what does their logo even mean? The current logo we see is an apple with a bite taken out of it. The bite actually needs to be there, or otherwise it would look similar to another fruit or even a cherry. But the logo we see today is actually supposed to meant to represent the scientific advancement throughout the ages. How is that possible? It's just an apple. Good question. The original logo we see here today is displaying Isaac Newton sitting under a tree before he made the discovery of gravity. Story has it that an apple dropped on his head before he came up with this revolutionary theory. Another theory is that the apple represents the forbidden fruit that tempted Eve. Could cell phones and all the advanced technology actually be the forbidden fruit that we've all plucked? Looks like now we're all suffering the consequences.
Whoa, now that was a cool video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.